Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. Today we're digging into the Demis Hassabis story, and it is a lot messier than the headline suggested.
Yeah, on the surface, this looked like a tidy succession plan. But there's a Fortune investigation out today that tells a very different version.
Okay, give me the official version first. What did Google actually announce?
On August 5th, Hassabis stepped back from running DeepMind day-to-day. He becomes chairman, keeps his job as CEO of Isomorphic Labs.
Kore Kavuktuoglu, who was CTO, now runs Gemini as SVP, reporting straight to Sundar Pichai.
16 years building the lab behind AlphaFold and a Nobel Prize, and now he's chairman. That's a big title change to call routine.
Right, and investors clearly didn't buy the routine framing either. Alphabet shares dropped about 5% in the hours after the announcement.
Before any of the messy internal detail had even come out publicly.
Exactly. So what Fortune's reporting adds is the why behind that reaction.
Walk me through it. What is actually going on inside DeepMind?
The biggest thread is Gemini 3.5 Pro missing 3 release targets in a row. An original June date, a mid-July fallback, then a further slip past August.
3 misses back-to-back isn't a scheduling hiccup. That's a real problem.
Engineers told Fortune the lab didn't focus on coding ability early enough in training. One quote was pretty blunt. They said the team dropped the ball a little bit on coding.
And that shows up on the leaderboards too, right? This isn't just internal grumbling.
It does. Artificial analysis CEO Micah Hill-Smith told Fortune that for a brief moment, Google actually had the smartest model in the world by their measure. That moment passed. Gemini 3.6 Flash is now behind Anthropic, OpenAI, xAI, Meta, and several Chinese labs on coding agent benchmarks.
Okay, so that is thread 1, missed deadlines. What's thread 2?
Jeff Dean, Google's 30th employee, chief scientist for 27 years. Hours after the reorg announcement, he confirmed he's leaving to co-found a startup called Discovery Loop.
27 years, and he walks out the same day the reorg is announced. That's not a coincidence people are going to ignore.
And here's the part that makes it stranger. Alphabet itself is listed as an investor in Discovery Loop. They're funding the guy who just left their payroll.
Wait, so Google is backing a startup founded by their own former chief scientist. That's an unusual way to lose someone.
It happens more than people think when compute and equity are the real competition for talent. And Dean isn't alone this year. Noam Shazir left for OpenAI in June. John Jumper, one of the AlphaFold inventors, went to Anthropic the same month. A couple more researchers followed him there too.
That's a lot of senior names leaving in a short window. What is Discovery Loop actually trying to build?
The pitch is automating the experimental side of research, running huge numbers of experiments in parallel instead of one at a time. Dean told the New York Times you get both higher quantity and higher quality of experiments that way, and that leads to real breakthroughs.
Okay, so we've got missed deadlines and a talent exodus. You said there was a third thread too.
The Pentagon contract. In April, Google signed a deal letting the Department of Defense run Gemini on classified networks. More than 580 employees, including people inside DeepMind, signed a letter opposing it.
That's not a small protest. That's hundreds of people willing to put their name on something like that.
One researcher, Alex Turner, resigned in June specifically over it. He'd been arguing against the contract internally for months before he left. Then in July, DeepMind's London staff launched what Fortune calls the first formal unionization attempt at a frontier AI lab, with the Pentagon deal as the direct trigger.
How is that going?
Stuck, honestly. Google won't voluntarily recognize the union, so it's now in the UK's conciliation process, arguing over who even counts as part of the bargaining unit.
And there's a pointed contrast here with Anthropic, isn't there? Didn't they turn down a similar deal?
They did, and got designated a military supply chain risk for refusing it. A federal judge later blocked that designation as unlawful retaliation.
So Anthropic said no and got punished for it, and Google said yes and is now dealing with the internal fallout instead.
Pretty much. Neither path was free, they just paid in different currencies.
Put all 3 threads together, missed deadlines, Google funding the chief scientist it just lost, a union drive over defense work, and this stops looking like routine succession.
That's the read I keep landing on too. 3 separate pressures hitting in the same news cycle, and Google tried to package it as one clean handover announcement.
What would you watch for next?
Whether Gemini 3.5 Pro actually ships and closes that coding gap, because that's the thing Kavuktuoglu inherits directly.
That's a good one to keep an eye on. Thanks for breaking this down, Maya, and thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode.